Good morning, friends. Today is the 8th day of July. And of course, we should all have been in heaven by now. Of course, we should have been in heaven in 2018. Surely, we would have been in heaven by May of 2019, and May came and went, June has came and went, and here we find ourselves in July. And I think there's even some talk about the Lord coming July the 17th, as far as the rapture I'm referring to. And I wasn't going to make a video this morning. I was just driving into work. And just talking to Jesus. Like I said, I wasn't going to make a video. But as I was talking to Jesus, he brought a scripture to my mind where he asked Peter, "Peter, do you love me?" "Lord, you know that I love you." He said, "Feed my sheep." Jesus asked him again, "Peter, do you love me?" "Lord, you know that I love you." "Feed my sheep." I believe Jesus even asked him a third time, "Peter, do you love me?" And Peter got upset. "Lord, you know that I love you." And Jesus told him to feed my sheep. Well, friend, I think there's a deeper meaning to why Jesus asked Peter 3 times. You know, I think we all assume, and you know what that word means, assume, that what Jesus was talking about was feeding the sheep spiritually. Because surely we know that Jesus would not have asked Peter to physically feed his sheep. But you know, there are 3 parts to us. We have a body, we are a spirit, we are spirit, we live in a body, and we possess a soul. Could it be, just could it be that the reason why Peter was asked 3 times because Jesus wants Peter and ministers, and we're all ministers of the gospel, that we would feed the sheep not only with their spiritual needs, but their physical needs, and maybe even their mental needs. You think of that. Because when Jesus was here on earth, he gave them spiritual food, he gave them physical food, and he also gave them food for the mind. He gave them words of wisdom to live by. You know, that's what the Beatitudes about. Getting you into right thinking. You see, he told them that if you look upon a woman in lust, you've already committed adultery in your heart. That is good mental wisdom to live by. You know, you've heard it said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I tell you, if a man asks you to go 1 mile, go with him 2. If a man asks for a coat, give him the cloak also. So God Jesus not only gave them spiritual food, but good mental food to live by, and physical food when he broke the bread and the fish. Now, friend, I'm going to tell you something. Not only does Jesus expect us to feed his sheep with spiritual food, but he expects us to feed his sheep with physical food. And you know what? Here's how we are. In our day of 2019, when the world is so caught up in themselves, that's the reason why it's called a selfie. Facebook is all about your face, all about showing the world what you look like, where you eat, what you had for supper, where you went on vacation. It's all about your face. That's why it's called Facebook. Taking selfies. It's all about the self. It's all about me, not you, not them. It's all about me. And let me tell you, as long as the devil can keep the Christians worried about themselves and looking at themselves, they sure won't be looking at Jesus, and they sure won't be looking at their fellow man. Jesus expects us as ministers of the good news to feed his sheep physically, mentally, and spiritually. But we expect these old poor sheep to go out there and graze in dry pastures, graze in dry fields, while some of us are grazing in what would be called bumper crops. If you remember, the quote early church distributed the wealth so that those that was in lack or lacked in need had enough, and those that had a lot would give to those that didn't have, that there would be equality, so there would be no lack. You would have those that had a lot would distribute to those that didn't, and there was no one that went without. And friend, let me just tell you something. You may be rich in this world's goods, and I'm going to hurt somebody's feeling and probably make you so mad you could spit 10 penny nails. There are those who are so rich in this world's goods, and you are probably one of the stingiest people there is, because the only way you can get wealth is to make sure there's no holes in your bucket. In other words, your bucket doesn't have anything going out. You just keep putting in, and you never spend it. You doggone sure ain't going to give none away, because you worked hard for the money, and you better be treated right, the song says. And there's people out here that needs help. And Miss Cookie is a prime example That woman needs help. But this ain't about Miss Cookie. This is about you and I having a giving heart. Friend, you can't outgive God. You cannot outgive God. Because whatever you give, He's going to give back to you again, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. I guarantee you, if you were a millionaire and if you gave $1 million away, He would give you 2, 3, 4, 5 million. And then when you tried to give that away, He'd give you 10 million. The devil, through the deceitfulness of riches tells us that we have to hold on to our wealth for the good old golden years. When, friend, if you just try to give away your excess and see how much God brings it back, you can't do it. You cannot outgive God. Peter, do you love me? Lord, you know I love you. Feed my sheep. And I encourage churches all over this world to feed the hungry, feed the outcast with physical food. God bless you, my friend.